And it starts off a big few days, actually, for United. They've made it through to the quarter-finals this evening. The job at the weekend is to make it all the way to Wembley in the semi-finals of the FA Cup.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. They've lost 4 semi-finals in a row. So I think they'll want to sort that out and win a title. And I think if they play to the best, let's be honest, in all these fixtures, they're going to be the favourite. And they want to capitalise on these big moments. They didn't last season, and they're going to need to do that this season.
Does it bother players when you've found yourself in those semi-final positions and not seen it through the following season? Is it on your mind, or do you just put that to bed and move on?
I think at some point it has to come on your mind, yeah. Losing 4, they lost 3 last season. They lost the 1 against Man City this year. I think it has to play on your mind at some point, yeah, definitely. There has to be some psychological block going into these big games where they haven't performed these big games, and that's when the trophies are won at the semi-final stage and final stage. They've not managed to get to that final stage yet. But again, they've got a great chance to, well, they've obviously progressed in this, in the quarter-final of the Europa League, quarter-final in the FA Cup. They now have to, I think it's important they go on and at least get to a final this year.
And look, they recently beat City. They've overcome a really difficult couple of games against AC Milan here. Do you continue to see forward progression in this United team, second in the Premier League?
I do, yeah. I think a lot of people will say, they bring up the 4 semi-finals, and it is a valid point. But I think Ole made a good point in his press conference this week, where he said, they're 12 points better off than they were last season. That's a much bigger picture in terms of the body work over a full season. So they are improving there. They're second. I think they're comfortably the second best team in the Premier League right now, obviously with the issues of the other teams. And who knows, with another window and some key players that can come and make the difference, I think United will be closer to pushing the best team in the country. So finish second and win a trophy. 2 would be fabulous. And then
Don't get greedy.
Yeah, you need to get greedy. United won trophy. I remember I saw Ole, and he said, and the goal is not to be second. The goal is to win. And I think that's what these guys want to do. Some of these players have experienced it. Ole knows what it's about. Paul Pogba knows what it's about. But the rest of these players need to feel what winning a trophy is about, because that's what Man United is about. It's about trophies.
OK, should we hear from the boss? He's with Patrick Kendrick. Here he is.
Ole, congratulations. What are your first thoughts after that?
I'm very happy, of course. We've come through a very difficult tie against a fantastic club, a very good team, and we've overcome some difficulties, definitely.
How nice is it to have a player like Paul Pogba to be able to send on in the second half when you need to score to go through?
We've missed Paul. He's been out for almost 2 months, and of course any team would miss a player like Paul Pogba. He was just getting into his best form, and he's very important for us. He's going to give us a big boost the rest of the season. And today he made a very, very big difference for us.
There's been a lot of talk about those spate of goalless draws that you had. The other side of that is that you're keeping a lot of clean sheets. How important is that in terms of trying to win a tournament such as this, knockout football?
Well, you give yourself a chance to win a game of football. And Dean had a fantastic save towards the end from the big lad. And I'm very pleased with everyone's defending. From the front, you see Dan James, Mason, Marcus and Bruno, the front 4 pressing like they do, and we always know that the back 6 with Scott and Fred and the back 4 always give everything.
How confident are you about going all the way in this competition? Made the last 4 last season. Do you feel you can go further this year? Many
good teams, of course. You've got to be spot on when you play. It's cup competitions. Anything can happen. Today, I think it's a penalty for Dan James in the first minute or 5 minutes or whatever. But sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. If you get that against you, anything can happen in cup competition. But we're through, we're confident, we're happy, looking forward to the draw.
And straight back to Premier League action on Sunday against Leicester, a massive 6-pointer.
FA Cup.
FA Cup, indeed, Cup. Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. So,
it's FA Cup, yeah, so we've got a breather from the league. We're looking forward to Sunday, big game again, quarter-final, of course. We dust ourselves down and go again.
Congratulations again tonight.
Thank you.
Congratulations indeed to them this evening. Right, those are the teams left in the Europa League. Let's have a good chat then about what United's chances look like. They're actually the favourites, the bookies' favourites now to lift it. I'm sure you're delighted about that. Arsenal, the second favourites. But then you've got Villarreal in there, you've got Ajax in there, Roma. It's good, man. Good line-up.
United are the best team, with the utmost respect to everybody else. They're the favourites. They should be favourites. Arsenal, Roma, maybe, but the rest of them, look, they're all here for a reason. They're good teams, but United are the best team, got the most talent. If they put the pieces of the puzzle together, they should win this if it goes according to plan. So I'm sure Arsenal and Roma will disagree. But I think anybody watching will realise United have the strongest squad left in the competition.
Yeah, United are the best squad by far left in the competition. I think it's probably all down to attitude now. If their attitude's right going into any of these games, they should win these games without a shadow of a doubt, really. I think that was probably the problem in the first game of this leg. They beat City at the weekend, really convincing win, and probably went into the Milan games probably a little bit complacent, thinking it was going to be a bit easy, and they've shown tonight how tough it was going to be. So I think they get the attitude right from the quarter-final onwards, they should win this competition.
And they draw the quarter-final and the semi-final together now, so we'll know not just who they're going to face next, but who they get after that.
Well, I think nobody wants to play Man United, because we've seen, counter-attack away from home, that they're the best team in Europe. So I think the harder thing might be when they play some of those smaller teams, where they have to, take the initiative in dominating the game.
They want to draw Granada, though, next, don't they?
Oh, of course they do, but I'm saying
not Arsenal.
We've seen them at their best against Manchester City, where they're absolutely brilliant, where City were unplayable. So I think for United, they're favourites, but I don't think anybody's going to want to play United the way that they're playing.
It's good. I mean, it's just another sort of good moment for them this evening. It builds on the clean sheets, brings Paul Pogba back into the equation. They've now got a big game against Leicester at the weekend. You can't underestimate the importance of momentum at this stage. Yeah,
momentum's there. Look, it's not a massive moment. They beat an AC Milan side who's nowhere near the AC Milan side of old in the last 16 of the Europa League. Look, if you're talking Champions League, then yeah, it's a big moment, but this is Europa League, remember. Yeah.
This is where they're at, though. You've got to win the games, haven't you?
This is where they're at now, yeah, and they should, that's what I'm saying, they should go on to win this competition now. If they're anything like... It comes back to attitude for me all the time. Every one of them teams, they've got a better squad than any of them teams. They've got better players. Attitude's right, they win these games.
Very good. Nice way to end. Gents, thanks very much for your company this evening. Congratulations to both Manchester United and Arsenal, of course. But so much happened this evening in the Europa League. There was drama everywhere. In many ways, we thought that it was kind of going to be a foregone conclusion in a few of the games, but it wasn't the case, was it, Matt? So you've got plenty now to get your teeth into for the next little while.
Indeed, Jake. Yes, absolutely. Attitude feels like the key word tonight. Much to discuss with Owen Hargreaves and Chris Sutton. We'll look back on all of the ties played in the round of 16 second legs tonight. Not all of them happy endings, that's for sure. Join us after the break for the full rundown and the reaction.
I think in 2 games we did well. We played 2 good games, and we created good chances today. We could have scored. We should have scored, and then we do one mistake and we get a goal against us. And this is football. You don't score goals. You can play as good as you want. If you don't score, you don't go to the next round. And I think 2 solid games. We did good, and unfortunately we didn't go through, and that's the way it is. I missed the first game today. I came in 30 minutes, and I had a lot of will to come in, but I think the team did well.
Still a handful at 39, but best team won. I mean, they got the job done. Were they the best team over the 2 legs over the night tonight?
They just shaded it.
Right.
I thought the 2 biggest stars were on the bench for either team, Zlatan and Paul Pogba, and Paul Pogba was the one that made the biggest difference. Yeah. He was the best player on the pitch, even though he only played 45 minutes. He just added a touch of class. And I agree with Ibrahimovic. Milan played really well over both games, but they missed him. They missed somebody at the top of the pitch. Rebic didn't play today, and they were missing some really important players. So I think for Milan, for that young, ambitious side, I thought they played pretty well. Probably overachieved this season, second in Serie A. But Paul Pogba coming off the bench was just a bit too much for them to cope with.
Does the goal typify why he's got that bit of X factor, Chris?
Absolutely, and he's been a player over the years at United who's taken a lot of criticism, but this is a brilliant finish from Pogba. He just feints to shoot, and the goal sells the goalkeeper and then lifts it into the roof of the net. It's a stunning finish, and you always felt this game. It was so tight, wasn't it? A moment of brilliance was possibly going to decide it, and that was absolutely brilliant from Pogba.
It was. I mean, the discussions will continue about whether he's at United long term. They never go away because he hasn't signed a new deal.
Well, He's the one. Chris makes a good point. You know, the other players are quite fortunate that he's there because he seems to be the one that gets all the criticism. But when he's not there, then you realise, been away for 6 weeks, you realise how important he is. You know, United haven't really created and scored as much as they should do. And now with him back, he comes on and he scores within, what, not even 10 minutes. So I think to have him along with Bruno Fernandes, I think would take a lot of load off Bruno Fernandes. And he played off the left-hand side and it suited him. So I think for Paul, you can't afford to lose him because, you know, to replace him would cost a fortune. And he made a huge impact and he got him into the next round.
Is Dean Henderson Manchester United's number one now?
I think so. I think he's a better keeper than De Gea. I thought he had an outstanding season at Sheffield United. When he came back, I thought he should have been given the number one jersey then. And actually, I thought it was an assured display from Dean Henderson tonight. He did make a mistake in the first game. Should have saved the goal which Milan scored. This was a save, in all honesty, I'd expect him to make. But I think that United, it's a nice headache for Ole, but I think he just shades it at this moment in time.
Yeah. Whether you keep De Gea as a number two, that seems slightly far-fetched. We'll see, won't we, when the summer comes. Interesting what Ole had to say about, well, trophies. You know, other managers get a bit ego trips on trophies. We're about progress. Man United are about trophies, aren't they?
Well, he does have a bit of a point, Matt. You know, you can nick a trophy, you know, in certain competitions, you know, 5-6 games to win some of these cups. So I think for the Europa League is completely different, you know. I think that is a great trophy. Obviously, they want to be in the Champions League like AC Milan. But I think he has a point where you're talking about the body of work over a season. 38 games is different. They're 12 points better off than they were last season at the same point. So they're improving. They're second. I think they are playing better. But still, there's a big gap to the top team. So I think if they can finish second and win a trophy, or two, which would be fabulous, then you're right. United need to win trophies, but the problem is the gap to City is too big right now for them to win the Premier League. And the Champions League, there's better teams right now.
I'm sure I've heard him banging on in the past about the importance of trophies, and Manchester United is all about winning trophies.
Well,
I understand what he's... yeah, it is, and I understand what he's saying about progress. I think that he has certainly improved the team. But in the end, Manchester United is such a big club, and Ole does need to win something eventually. And they've got a great opportunity this season. I mean, this is an open goal now for them to go on and win the Europa.